welcome to our next episode of Workforce Wednesdays. I have another board member with us, Miss Maxine
Hi.
Peters-Giles. She is the owner of ComproTax, owner-operator of
Yes.
ComproTax here in Lufkin.
It's Maxine's ComproTax.
Maxine's ComproTax,
Yeah.
not just ComproTax, yes,
Yes.
ma'am. And so I will start by asking our very first question. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself in about one or two sentences?
Maxine's ComproTax is just a satellite of ComproTax, which is a Texas corporation. I work for the city of Lufkin, and I had given myself a 5-year goal once I started with ComproTax in 1978, and I wanted to do it in 5 years. I done it in four something because I was letting somebody else handle my business. And sometimes they wouldn't be there when somebody should have been there. Then I had people nice enough in the building to say, there's nobody in your office, but there are people waiting for you. But Maxine's ComproTax, myself, Maxine's ComproTax. And I never say just me because it's always a we thing. I've been on the board of directors with ComproTax. That's where I've been all week. All day, and it's the same thing. How do we get these young people, to do some of the things that they have brains already in them to do? It was put there. God gave it to us. That's one of the things that we're talking about. But Maxine ComproTax, we train people to do what we do.
Okay.
Because we know we're not going to be here all of our lives. We all getting older, and that's why we've always had a group. But the system has always been based on training others to do what we do.
So how long have you been helping families with tax preparation and things of that sort?
Well, I helped before I became self-employed, but I've been totally self-employed since 1978. I'm getting married and...
That's okay. That's okay. So in 1993 is how long?
93, yes. That's when I became totally self-employed. But I started working, going to school. I was invited to a meeting in Huntsville, Alabama. But this was in Huntsville, Texas. And I was invited to a meeting over there by Gloria Toran. She's gone on now. And I hadn't ever been around such people, black people doing business. But I had never been to a meeting where people did that. And I was impressed by that, and they was asking me questions, and I'm saying, okay. And after the meeting, the guy asked me, he said, I hope you don't feel like I was picking on you. It's not an I thing, and we want to make sure that we always emphasize that. So we were never alone as far as doing businesses. Before I knew how to do business return. Well,
you were introduced to business and business-minded individuals, and that's what kind of spurred your interest in wanting to pursue it.
You mean in my life?
In your life.
In my life. They never know about doing taxes myself, but I started doing that when we moved to New Hampshire. But my very first job was making shoes. My girl's dad, after we got married, his job sent him to New Hampshire from Louisiana. So that was the first time I had seen DC and all of that up there. There was no jobs opening at that particular time. But I was always used to working and doing things.
What challenges did you face early in your career that helped you grow?
I grew up on a farm, so we was always taught to work. And we farmed ourselves, but we were also helped other people, and we got paid. See, a lot of people don't remember being on the back of a tongue guard truck. When they used to make oil paint, we helped other people pick their cotton, and then we helped other people gather their tongue guards. And so we was on the back of a tongue guard truck. Why? If I feel like I retired, this body needs to retire. It'll get stiff if I sit too long.
And I talk to people all the time, and every time I talk to them, those that have retired, they say, "Well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that." They don't
They
even
don't
enjoy
they
it.
don't enjoy it, and some people just go home and lay down. Yes,
What advice would you give young people that are trying to enter the workforce now?
they need to do something. That every time they do something, they want to get a page or something. So, like my girls, when they were coming up, and then I would have them over at the office. Not my niece, my husband's niece, wanted some money one day. You know, can you go clean the table off or sweep the floor in there or something? Yeah, I was taught that. My parents taught that, and that anything, if it ain't worth working for, it ain't worth having. And we always want things better for our children. As we got older, we got a little more lenient with the children, and they want more. So I tell people, stop giving your children so much. But we had to go to work, and we had to go to school,
Yes, ma'am.
and we had to go to church.
Now,
Yeah.
what advice would you give young people that are trying to enter the workplace?
We're making everything basically the same time each day. Young people could do is just learn to just work and give. They, not to think about themselves all the time. Not just what you want. What do you want to do for somebody else?
That's right, because you can learn what you want to
Yeah.
do through
Yeah.
service. So as you serve others, you kind of get an idea of what your interests are, whether or not you like people, whether or not you like hands-on work, work on the computers. But you won't learn that unless you put yourself out there and try to serve. And
people want to be takers. We got givers and we got takers. You can't be takers all the time.
Absolutely.
You got to give.
Absolutely.
And the more you give, the more you receive.
Now, when you started ComproTax, you didn't have a lot of tax preparation experience. So what did they say they were looking for in young people as they were getting started and they were trying to sign them on to the program?
Well, the thing of it is, we always done opportunity meetings.
Okay.
And we explain the opportunity of what it can do. Because a lot of people say, I don't want to do taxes. I don't like math. And that's a misconception. Tax preparation is much more a matter of reading with an understanding and following the instructions. And when you get in there to do that, and I used to tell my students, are you gonna take an apple and just stick it in your mouth all at one time?
One bite at a time.
You do one bite of it at a time. And you're not gonna just take that bite and swallow it. You're gonna chew it up. It's gonna digest. It's gonna go and do what it needs to do, every single piece. Then you go to the next piece. Well, tax is a lot like that.
I like that. That's a wonderful analogy.
Yeah. You can't do it. You don't get it all at one time. And some things you remember that sticks with you, as far as the forms don't change all the time, but the laws change all the time. So we train you how to look up the law and just follow the law. People want shortcuts.
Yes, they do.
They don't want to do things right. We in a situation now. We've been in this situation for some time. It's been with taxes, insurance. Now, I've been a notary since 1990. And this is the first year they required us to go to school and get a certificate for it. 2026. January 1, 2026.
It's good information.
Yeah, because people, it's hard to find notaries here in Lufkin. Well, basically anywhere, because nobody want to do the classes.
Now, you have those at the banks and some at the UPS office, but for the most part, no, I haven't found like a mobile notary that
you gotta go to the notary. You gotta go to the bank. Basically, they used to have them in the sheriff department, police department.
So that's something that you're continuing on. Are you gonna get certified as a notary, or are you going to drop that since they've made the
Mine was due
adjustment?
in, it passed in January. I passed my test in January, on January 9th.
Okay, all
And
right.
it took them 2 or 3 months to send all of my certificates and everything.
Oh, wow.
Passed the test on the 9th. My license expired on the 18th of January. And then they sent me my certificate several months later. So my certificate expired. I've never had an expired where it didn't overlap.
Right. Well, hopefully you'll be able to get that taken care of.
Oh, I got it. But they started it and they didn't have everything in order. They didn't have everything in order to do what needed to be done.
Okay. You know, if individuals or business owners, what are they looking for? They're looking for young people that want to learn. They're open to new opportunity, and they're willing to go and do things that are a little bit different. What about business ownership has taught you responsibility over the years, starting in 1993?
Well, business ownership is like being your own boss. You're your boss and the employer. When you might want to stay in the bed, that employer tell you gotta get up and go. You know, so you both sides. You know, as far as when you went to a job, you just went to a job because you had a job, and that's the only way you got a paycheck. Well, it's the same thing with being self-employed. You're not going to get a paycheck unless you get up and go to work. Yeah, you just can't go to the office and sit there looking pretty either. You gotta do some work.
Okay. And
Yeah.
that kind of segues into my next question. What advice do you have for young people that want to start a business? They don't necessarily want to start on their own or independently. Let's say they want to go through a group. What kind of feedback or advice would you give them to say, hey, these are the shortcuts that I wish I would have known getting started?
Well, the thing of it is, I don't have that I wish I would have had.
Okay.
When I started with ComproTax, it was then, right then, okay, you're never going to be by yourself. We got to hold your hand. So it's called provisional time to grow. So when you start, you always going to be with somebody.
Okay. Now, if there are young people that are in business that are not like ComproTax, where people are holding their hand, what kind of advice could you give them to persist as they develop their business?
They have to be determined to do it first, and persistence. They can't just give up when things don't look like you think it might be. They gotta hold on. Stay in the game. And first they need to talk to get some advice about business. Most people that I'll say a lot of people, black people, a lot of people too, but mostly black people, because you know they're coming, they're start like mowing yours, and they don't think they have to pay taxes on that money because nobody reports it. And that's why Internal Revenue Service, you know, every so often they will visit like the barber shops. And not just blacks, but I mean, that was one of the biggest things, because the way we had to work, it wasn't like we always had somebody teaching us to go in business for ourselves, but we've always been in business ever since we've been here, you know. So we just want to make sure that we train our young people and let them know the quick buck is not the way to go.
That's correct.
You know, you don't want to do all this illegal stuff. Pull your pants up, you know, and so you can hold them. You know, get you a belt so you don't have to hold your pants. Use your hands for something else besides pulling your pants up. But that's a big problem right now with the teenagers. I have to stay on my grandson. Put your belt on.
That's right. And that's a wonderful thing to share. And so what other advice about professionalism would you like our young people to understand? Like, what does professionalism mean to you?
Be dependable. Be responsible. You know, and so I was listening to my grandson the other day. He was telling me about the sermon that your husband preached. And so he remembered that. He said, M, he calls me M for Maxine. He says, I can remember where I used to just wouldn't ask questions when I want to ask questions. He said, but now I said, that's the best thing you do. You ask questions, especially when you don't want to know or when you're curious about things. He always asked me questions. Why don't I celebrate Santa Claus? We had a long conversation about that. But we got to learn how to talk to our young children. Let them know things are not easy. And people are not going to give you things. Some people, they get things on a plate. I mean, they grow up and they have a lot of things. But if they want to be productive, you know, you don't want to be laying in the bed all the time. You worth something. I mean, I think about the way God built us, and which is totally amazing. When you go back and look at it, he put us right there, got everything together, put it in the garden. I had that conversation the other day with somebody. No, somebody taught you that. No, I read that. Yeah, nobody taught me about God. If you're going to believe in God, you have to go to his book. You know, so, and I taught taxes that way. You know, and I always told my students, I'm just the instructor. I don't know everything. So don't just let me tell you anything. Whenever we had questions that we had to do in class, I want you to show me where you found it at in the book. Yeah.
That sounds a lot like what we do in our computer lab in there as students are going through training. And I tell them, find the answer.
Yeah, and I got that from being a member of the church. I grew up in the Methodist church. But then when I got to telling, well, the Bible only talks about one. Really. So I started searching it that way. So that's why when somebody started telling me something about the Bible, let's go read it.
That's right.
Yeah, don't just tell me your opinion of it. You know, a lot of people, we're not gonna get in the Bible right now, because other than the Bible, the taxes is next.
Yes,
I love to talk about taxes.
I love it. I love it. So, as far as building trust in relationships, how can young people? I know you've done a good job of building Maxine's ComproTax. What did you do to help build trust and build relationships as you were growing your business? Because right now with young people, it's about networking, finding the right people, finding good counselors or mentors. So how can they work towards building relationships and building trust with individuals as they get started in their career?
First thing is being present.
Okay.
You know, and you don't have to be right here sitting next beside me. You got to be able to communicate. And the way things are right now, you got Zoom, where you can see people. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of negative things about COVID, but there's also some positive things about COVID. So we can't just look at all of the negative things, but there was a lot of positive things that came from COVID. Also, you know, it's kind of like looking at a glass of water. If you ask somebody, now you got a half full a glass of water. Some people look at it and say it's half empty. It's half full. Why are you going negative? It's half full.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So there are a lot of, and my parents always taught me, never say can't. Never say can't. So I never learned to say can't. Somebody asked me about doing something, I just say, okay, I just need to figure out how to do it, but I'm not going to ever say I can't do that.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
It's a can-do world.
That's right. And we had one of our board members shared something, and I loved it. Figure it out. So
Yeah.
you don't have to say you can't, but you do have to figure
You
it
figure
out.
it out.
Yes, ma'am.
Improvise sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you wanted our young people to walk away knowing about you or knowing about, you know, what's one piece of advice would you share with them that you want them to walk away from this interview with?
Let me say it like this. If you go out and look around, you see the pine trees are about the tallest trees in the world. When the wind comes, they sway a lot. Okay? They can go way down. You're not going to hardly ever see a pine tree that just breaks. The wind might twist it and wring it off. They're oak trees. I mean, they can come up from the woods. They'll break off. But a pine tree. So I tell people, be like the pine tree. You got to be flexible. You know, you got to be flexible. And see, you're not going to be like everybody else. Just like those trees, it sticks up and it bends. So you got to be flexible.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yes,
you got to be flexible. You got to be determined. You got to be persistent. Yes.
All right. Well,
And the boss in you have to tell you to keep going.
that's right.
Because that employer is waiting for that boss in you to keep going.
Now, I know we said I wanted to end it here, but you've mentioned something. A lot of our young people want to be the boss.
Yeah.
They don't want to start at the bottom where
That's
they
it.
learn the basics and filing the folders and
Yeah.
you know, doing the little stuff. So how can we encourage those young people that want to be the boss start at the level that they need to understand, you know, what needs to be done as they grow into being a boss?
You know, I can use analogy like a baby being born. When a child come into this world, that mother or father, whoever's going to be taking care of that child, is going to have to take care of that child, fix his bottles, change his diapers, change his clothes. So you have to think of that when you want to go into your business for yourself. You need to take care of your business before your business can take care of you. So you got to know how to take the garbage out. You know, you need to know how to sweep the floors. It's like wearing all kinds of hats. You know, so you need to know how to do that.
That's wonderful. So
Yeah.
just like a family is growing their little ones, you need to know how to
Yes.
do every little part
Yes,
before you try to say, okay,
that's right.
you
And
need
if a
to do what
baby,
you.
if a baby start crawling, and I'm gonna ask you this: have you ever seen a child start crawling? I mean, when they crawling, and then they start walking, and they want to go back and crawl.
Most times, sometimes, yeah, but most times, no. They
Do
want
you
to
ever
go.
do you ever want to go back and crawl?
I don't know.
Yeah. So you got to learn how to crawl first, whether it's on your stomach or on your knees, before you can walk. And that's the same thing in business. You got to learn how to crawl some
Okay.
before you can walk.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you learn to fly.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we thank you so much for
Yes,
spending
ma'am.
time with us this morning. Like I said,
Okay.
I know you are busy. We appreciate you serving on our board. I think you've been with us for some time since we moved to
Yeah.
Lufkin. So thank you for being of
I
service.
miss Juicy Spot.
I know it. I know it. And we miss it too. Prayerfully, we can bring it back
Yeah.
and
We
right
pray-
here at this location.
That's prayerfully,
So
yes.
That's the goal.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today with our Workforce Wednesday series. Again, we have Miss Maxine Peters-Giles here with Maxine's ComproTax. She's been a board member. She's shared some wonderful insight about starting a business. And if there are any young people that want to be a boss, want to be the boss, just know that you have to start somewhere. You have to learn the basics and grow into that role. So if you have more questions, I guarantee Miss Maxine is open to being a mentor. You can call her via Zoom. You can send her an email. And thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Yes. Consultation is free.
consultations are free. So if you have any interest in either tax preparation, or are there other services outside of tax preparation that you offer?
Yeah, insurance,
Bookkeeping services.
yes,
So
payroll.
if there's anything of that nature that you're interested in, Maxine's ComproTax will provide a free consultation so that you can have an idea of, whether or not she can serve your business. So thank you again.